Welcome to the Fly Route Pod. Whether it's your first time listening to any of our videos or you're a return listener, do us a favor. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
And I want to start with the Miami Heat. Miami Heat destroyed NBA free agency, making a plethora of moves that upgrade them all around. First things first, they get a sign and trade for Kyle Lowry from Miami. The rumors are swelling at the tail end of things, and Kyle Lowry ends up with the Miami Heat. They end up having to give up Goran Dragic in another sign and trade, as well as Precious Achiuwa, which is a player that I really like, but his timeline is not the same timeline as a Jimmy Butler and this current Miami Heat roster. They re-signed Jimmy to a max contract. That is huge. Next is Duncan Robinson, 5-year, $90 million. Dunk gets the bag, and not by a long shot. Look, so that is, I think, huge for them. Then they get PJ Tucker, and this was a really, really underrated signing for me. 2 years, $15 million. If you are a frequent listener of the podcast, you would have heard on last episode, PJ was one of my guys that I really wanted to see get the bag in this free agency after coming off of a championship run. And unfortunately, PJ didn't get the $10 to $12 million a year that I really wanted him to push for. And he stayed in his usual 8 to 9 range, but it's a 2-year deal on another team that can contend. And he adds a lot of defense and grit and a little bit of corner shooting for spacing for this team that I think that they are truly going to benefit from. Other big moves that they made is they got Markieff Morris on a deal. They re-signed Oladipo on the minimum, which happened today. That's when I'm recording on Wednesday. And he's, of course, going to have to go through some rehab, but is another great addition to the team. Gabe Vincent on a 2-year deal, Dwayne Dedmon on a 1-year deal, etc. And I think that it's hard to say that Miami did not make the biggest stride in free agency. Pat Riley, once again, knocks it out of the park. And if you truly think about it, Miami has upgraded on almost every single spot in their starting five that they changed. Now, there was some points in time last year where they even had to have Tyler Hero playing point guard. And Goran Dragic, of course, at a later part of his career, isn't exactly what he's always been for this Heat franchise. Kyle Lowry, massive, massive upgrade, in my opinion, both on the defensive end as well on the offensive end, and just playmaking consistently, being able to take some of that pressure off of Jimmy in late game situations as really their main closer and initiator. Has championship pedigree and a lot of playoff experience in the East. Of course, keeping Jimmy is great. Duncan at the 2, big deal. I mean, shooters come with the premium. That is just a fact that he is one of the best shooters in the NBA right now, so he deserves the money that he gets. PJ Tucker could take into that 4 position right next to Jimmy, pushing Jimmy to the 3, which I think is his more natural role. PJ Tucker is going to be a strong defender, shoot the corner 3, space, etc. And I think that ends up being a huge upgrade. So you end up having a situation where you could have a starting lineup of Lowry, Duncan Robinson, then Jimmy Butler, then PJ Tucker, and then, of course, the big guy, Bam Adebayo. So I just think like that's massive. Then you got to think about it coming off the bench, Victor Oladipo, Markieff Morris, and Tyler Hero are your 6th, 7th, and 8th men, and they can be starters. Well, they could be starters on other teams. Tyler Hero may be a year or 2 away from being that primetime starter, but definitely Victor Oladipo has been, and Markieff Morris has been in other situations. I think that is just huge. This Miami Heat team is deep. Heat Nation should be very, 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 very pleased with what Pat Riley brought them this free agency season. Now I'm going to move